Welcome back to Crash 3 Insane Version. Tier 4, we're going to go through some stuff you can't do the first time around because that's what this game likes to do once it gets to the end. Pad the length by making you revisit levels.
A staple since the first game.
Yes.
You really feel it though with Tier 4 as a result, because you have Future Frenzy, which you need, I think, 15 relics to go complete.
Yes, I believe so.
No, you need 20 because 15 is Area 51.
It's one or the other. Either way, it's tedious. And I'm sorry, but Engine's model isn't anywhere near as good as the others, I think.
It's good, but it's also less cartoony than it should be.
Like, the bottom of the model bothers me.
It's just like
it's like they didn't finish rendering it.
That's not exactly what I mean. It's more like it looks a little too organic, like with the metal attached to the face, and you never got that level of detail with engines. You could kind of not.
But did you want it?
You could never think of. You never had to think about the fact that he's basically got metal grafted into his face, and now you can't not think about it because right there, under a microscope.
Not really under a microscope, it's kind of half his head.
Yeah, but you can see microscopic detail. Skin texture, metal texture, eyebrow hair.
Textures on top of textures. Man was not meant to have this much power.
That's the power of the PlayStation 4. Thankfully, our last jet ski romp.
No, because there's still, wait, see, there was...
Oh, right, yeah,
Craze.
there's the last one in the bottom tier.
There's the last one in the Sunset, yeah. What the fuck was the name of it? Because that was on the top of my head.
Why is there so much jet skiing?
There's 4 ski levels, as opposed to, like, the normal 3.
Really
But
bizarre.
to be fair, like, one of them is
She
a bonus level.
I guess Coco decided she liked her new jet ski more than her pet tiger.
More than her brother. More than her laptop.
More than her laptop battery.
Treachery.
Now, you know, the story behind that is that Crash, when she bugged him to go get him that battery after Crash 2, he returned with a large hunk of metal that he mistook for a battery but was in fact a jet ski. And she was so pleased by this that she just said, yeah, that'll do. That's a battery.
Crash, no. Wait.
Crash,
Leave the
yes.
jet ski.
Crash, yes.
I didn't say take it back.
Selling the jet ski will get you lots of batteries.
Whoa.
Or use the battery
That
inside
was
the jet
close.
ski.
A little bit, yeah.
It runs off laptops.
That's a really inefficient fuel source. How would it
You think
run on
she's
laptops?
a Mac person or Ubuntu?
She's probably Ubuntu. Or Linux, maybe.
Yeah, she strikes me more as a Linux gal.
Man, does anyone remember, like, when Ratchet and Clank came out on PS3, Tools of Destruction, people were talking about, like, how it was like playing a Pixar game? Well, the people who noticed that it existed anyway, because for some reason people stopped caring about Ratchet and Clank around that time, like, just, it's hitting me as I'm watching you go through this game again, like, even though people said that about that game at that time, it's like, yeah, but... it still looks like we've made a lot of progress. There's a lot more detail now.
To be fair, they're probably referring to, like, Toy Story 1 Pixar. Which they would be wrong about.
Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, there was less detail in that. It's hard to tell because it was so well animated and it was about toys, so if things looked a bit plasticky, well...
It made sense for things to be plasticky.
Yeah, you can't tell if that's limited technology or intentional design.
Yeah.
It's probably both.
And that's why it's about toys. They're fucking geniuses.
I wouldn't be surprised if the creative process, at some point when they were just trying to figure out what kind of movie to make, they realized that things in CG look like plastic, and they were like, yeah, let's do a story about plastic things.
Well,
especially if you look at the thing that inspired Toy Story, like the thing it was based off of.
Oh?
It was a short about a little toy soldier. And I think it was like trying to avoid a baby or something like that. Or
was that part of the the VHS collection that was under LucasArts?
I think so. I'll have to look back at it, but it looks really jank, especially compared to today. But it would be a major inspiration for what Toy Story would eventually become in '95.
Well, I mean, a lot of artistic decisions do come from technical limitations. That's basically the entirety of Mario's design.
Yeah. Huh. It's interesting to think about those things, especially from the lens of a time when those limitations are no longer as limiting.
Hence the phrase "less is more."
I mean, nowadays, good CGI doesn't look plasticky. It just looks uncanny valley. Like, almost real, but not quite. The way things move is never quite right.
Are you guys going to see Battle Angel?
What? I don't get it.
What was the name of the anime or the manga that new movie is based off of? I think it's Battle Angel.
Wait, Battle Angel. I saw a preview for that when I was out to see Star Wars.
No, you didn't see a preview. It saw you.
Yeah.
With those gargantuan eyes.
It looked interesting, actually. I might actually go see that.
Well, it still would be better than Japanese CG shows and movies, because they still, for some reason, have not figured that out yet.
Well,
I mean, it's gotten significantly better, but...
Japanese stuff tends to be... Like, they don't want realism. I don't know why, but they just don't want realism.
Well, no, it's not even the realism, it's just that the animation just plain isn't good. Oops.
Yeah, but when I say they don't want realism, I'm not just talking about photorealism. I mean, like, they don't want people in pop culture to behave like real people. They want them to behave like cartoon characters. Like...
Everything is an extension of Sentai when you think about it.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, they want the characters to do all these exaggerated emotes, and like, even like exploitation films from the 70s had characters behaving in wacky ways for a laugh.
Speaking of Japanese CG, though, are you going to watch the Batman Ninja movie when it comes out next year, John?
What the fuck?
What?
It's like...
You saw the trailer for that, right?
Yeah, of course. And I love how, despite all of the aesthetical changes to the Batman mythos, Alfred is still Alfred.
Well, because he's Alfred.
Well, the butler
don't you love Oda Nobunaga Joker?
The butler is a long-standing trope in Japanese pop culture for some reason.
Yeah, but he looks literally no different.
I think that comes from, like, at the time when, like, the West was heavily influencing Japan. Rich people with their butlers was a fascination of some kind. So
and then there's the Bat manga.
Is an image that sticks in people's minds.
Like, I'm gonna watch it, no doubt, but it's like, why?
I ask myself that every time Japan makes something. Doesn't stop me from enjoying it, but I have to wonder why.
The weirdest one to me is still Red Hood.
I love how they put Wumpa fruit above the goddamn spinny launch pads, so that every time you touch one, you send fruit flying everywhere.
It's a beginner's trap.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this is a level you're going to be waiting a long time to complete.
It's Future Frenzy.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'll complete it in the future.
Yeah.
Someday. I like how, in this universe, traffic lights are platforms. Why?
Yeah.
You gotta repurpose them somehow. It's not like Crash listens to traffic symbols or anything like that. Have you seen the motorcycle levels? I mean, fuck it, not even the birds pay attention to that shit.
So yeah, showing every box along the normal path so I don't have to show it on the way when I go to the 100%.
This level's a pain in the ass.
Yep.
To 100%. It's there are times where I feel it's not as bad as Cold Hard Crash.
No, it's not as hard as
other times.
It's a bit longer than Cold Hard Crash, but it's nowhere near as obnoxious.
Yeah.
Same principle, though.
Crash.
You have to travel a certain amount of way to get the boxes in one way. Then you have to backtrack twice.
Yeah, but it's not as hard.
Crash Bandicoot's approach to completionism is not my favorite. Did you? Oh yeah, you hovered like horizontally for a little while. How do you do that?
I imagine for like 100% speedrun of this game, you would just box dupe this level.
In the original, yeah, I'm not even sure that works in this game.
I wouldn't. Oh, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how the counter glitch works, so I wouldn't be able to say.
Well, given the amount of shit they left in this remake as a callback to the original game's design, whether it was intentional or not, I'm not sure, but
yeah,
I don't see them leaving that in.
I mean, they might have. Maybe they just overlooked it. I imagined it wasn't high on their priority list to fix.
You know what's interesting though is like there's a beta level for the Insane trilogy from when it was being developed. You can find it on YouTube. It's like the level design in that level seems better. like.
Well, I think that's why everyone wants to see like a proper quote-unquote Crash 4 with these guys.
It looks better in the sense that it's more interesting. Like it splits off into two paths, but the two paths are visible from each other. So it's like it's less like a tunnel, and more like just a
path.
fairly linear platforming stage by modern standards.
Would you say it's something you would see more in like Twinsanity?
You know, that's hard to say. I haven't played through Twinsanity in a while, but I seem to remember it actually segregating its linear and non-linear gameplay from each other. Like
Twinsanity is pretty broad at times.
Yeah, it's like it, but like it has its linear tunnel sections, and then it has its open sections, and then every so often when you're going through the linear tunnel section, there'd be a turnoff that leads to a kind of small open exploration area that's mostly there for collectibles, but the really only open section is the hub. And there's like a hub for each segment of the game.
That's another game we'll probably say we're going to get to at some point and then never do.
Well, I'll record it eventually, but...
eventually!
I want to do Wrath of Cortex first, and I want to finish Insanity Trilogy first, so...
Yeah.
Twinsanity is a game that frustrates me because it is so obviously unfinished, and if they had just been given the time to finish it, it probably would have ranked as one of the greats.
I want to actually, whenever I get to reviewing that game, I'm actually looking forward to like the history of the production of that game. Like to see why it was left as unfinished as it was.
Money.
Like, I guess that's the most obvious one, but more like I like looking into like the production history of this and that.
Yeah.
Especially if it's for a franchise I grew up with.
I think there is a story behind that, but I'm failing to recall exactly what it was.
They all left for Rascal.
Yeah. Potentially,
they went back in time to...
They went back in time to finish off Rascal, and that was a piece of shit, and they realized, fuck, you can only time travel once. And we wasted it.
There we go.
Oh, I love this part.
Yeah, where's my
that
fruit
always
bazooka?
makes me nervous, because for some reason I expect the glide spin to go down.
Yeah, it does not work.
Well, I expect it to slant downward, but it actually flies straight for a little while before it does that.
Yeah, it's a bit
Crash
more...
still has the lighting problems here.
Yeah, where his eyes are bright.
Yeah. Well, you mean dark.
Well, both.
His eyes become blackish voids in the right light.
The hieroglyphics on the walls, there's like a dog just sitting there with a collar. Regular old dog with a collar.
Dude, look at the pose of that one dog on the wall there. That's the Drake pose. When he doesn't see something he likes. We see something he doesn't like.
Huh.
So...
I never actually had time to actually stare at the hieroglyphics.
Me neither. I never pay attention to them while I'm playing. They're so kind of inconsequential, but they really updated a lot of them in this version. Like, they were pretty basic, if I remember, in the vanilla Crash 3. Like, they had their Cortex parts for sure. But here they're all over the place.
Death path time.
Yay!
This is for the blue gem, remember correctly?
Yep. Where's my fruit bazooka?
When all you see is metal crates and nitros, you know that it's going to be one of those paths that just terminates
thank God.
once you pick up the jab.
You're just gonna kill yourself, yeah?
Yeah. The moment you see an actual crate to break on a death path, though...
You're like, fuck.
It's like, fuck.
There's nothing you can do about it. Yep, water went up. Yeah, now the cycle's all wrong.
Yep.
Water go up. Wait. Wait. Wait, go!
We're already below Sapphire Relic time at this case.
Yeah. But that timing's a lot tighter than you think it is.
Yeah, if you want a good time at all, you really need to abuse the Death Tornado Spin. Like, to hell and back.
Well, we're on the death route, so this isn't part of the speedrun, but...
No.
And blue gem, time to kill myself. Nope. Bye.
I lived a good life.
I got a shiny blue
Temporarily.
thing. I'm done.
I mean, I had a good life, and then there was that little stint where I kind of lost myself.
At least I have 58 more.
Got a tribal tattoo. Hijacked giants. What the fuck was that about?
Crossed over with the purple dragon, and the games were terrible.
Made by the same people who made this.
Somehow.
To be fair, I don't think like a lot of people did not know what to do with licensed games on the Game Boy Advance.
Well, they did originally. That's what's so baffling, because Vicarious Visions made The Huge Adventure. And that was a good game.
Yeah, it was. But like, whenever there was a low-budget production on the Game Boy Advance, somehow it came out more embarrassing than low-budget productions on 8 and 16-bit consoles, and I have no idea how that happened.
And we played Home Improvement.
No,
Because,
dude.
like-
Home Improvement is fine. That has a laser chainsaw.
They would always be trying to make it look super graphically impressive like it was on a console. But the only thing that resulted in was really pixely realism, and that never looks good.
Oh, it looked horrible when blown up.
Yeah.
Which is why, to this day, I still think, like, for the best visual experience for Game Boy Advance titles, play it on a Game Boy Advance.
Well, that's a thing, but that just makes the kind of thing I'm talking about worse. I showed Ryan earlier off screen a video of the Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix game on Game Boy Advance, which is one of the worst abominations of video game design I've ever seen in my life.
Didn't even know there was an Order of the Phoenix game for the Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
Well, now you know.
Have you ever seen the Gamecom version of Resident Evil 2 in action?
I don't want to.
Well, imagine what that probably looked like. The Gamecom version of Resident Evil 2 was actually kind of ambitious. It was trying to translate the actual Resident Evil 2, the 3D Resident Evil 2, into a 2D sprite-based format. It's complete with tank controls. It was something.
What?
Well, this was kind of like that, only with all of the models ripped out of the PS2 Order of the Phoenix game, and made into animated sprites and character portraits.